The anime begins with complete chaos in the city. People were terrified, and there was an unknown being inside a crater. This was an alien resembling a blue Namekian, and it was shooting energy spheres that were exploding all the buildings in the area. The hero organization's alarms had started, and they were looking for the nearest hero to the zone to save the city. Reporters were commenting on the events and told us that this beast is a kaijin, but the news didn't last long on air, as that reporter would die seconds later. Saitama, our protagonist, was watching the news and said he would head to the scene. A girl was crying in front of that kaijin and was almost killed, but Saitama appeared like a light to rescue her. After that, he introduced himself to the villain, saying he is a hero just for fun. The kaijin felt very annoyed hearing that silly introduction and said he was Vaccine Man, a beast formed from pollution. He was tired of humans destroying the earth with pollution and claimed he had the mission to eliminate them to clean the world. Furthermore, this monster was upset by Saitama's bizarre attitude. Saitama didn't take him seriously. He defeated him with a single punch, which may seem absurd, but he eliminated him like swatting a mosquito with a flip-flop. And after this, his concern was not the destruction of the city, but the fact that he defeated him with just one blow. Now, let's go back to a flashback. 3 years before what we just saw, a man looking for a job, that was Saitama, who encountered a crab kaijin and was not afraid of him. Since he was serious, the beast decided to ignore him and said he would go after a child. Coincidentally, Saitama came across the child shortly after that, and he asked if he had done something to annoy the kaijin. It turned out that the child had drawn nipples on the beast's chest. Saitama thought about leaving because the child was ugly, but something made him defend him. Saitama believed that the kaijin was exaggerating and started laughing because he attacked people for making fun of him and even started mocking him until the kaijin sent him flying. But he got up again to stop the crab because he wanted to be a hero who defeated villains with a single punch. With his tai, he gouged out the kaijin's eye and killed him, surprising the child. Our protagonist still couldn't believe that it had been 3 years since that incident. He had trained so much that he became bald, and he became so strong that no one could defeat him, and he also felt empty because of it. His emptiness was so great that there were tremors in the city, and he continued to shop as if nothing happened. Suddenly, that building and a large part of the city were destroyed by a giant and his brother, a mad scientist. The scientist had experimented on his brother to turn him into a mass of muscles until he went insane. Both felt capable of destroying the world together, and indeed, the way they were doing things seemed like they might succeed. They were happy to be so strong until Saitama appeared, and the scientist asked his brother to kill the bald guy. But the giant killed his brother instead of the hero, which made him go crazy. Saitama was smiling randomly until the giant sent him to the ground and gave him a good beating. The giant was so powerful that he created a deep pit in the ground, but it was empty because he had killed his brother. And in the next moment, Saitama killed him with a single punch, saying that now he understands what it means to be empty. Saitama believes that evil will never disappear and that he doesn't make a difference in the world. He feels that his strength made him lose his humanity. While he was thinking and reflecting, another kaijin appeared, resembling a transformer, whom Saitama didn't pay much attention to. That is until he made him furious by mocking his baldness. After a long day of killing kaijin, Saitama returned home thinking that killing kaijin was no longer exciting. He's just a hero for pure pastime. The next day, Saitama woke up, and his house was destroyed. A denizen of the depths had attacked him, and this beast claimed they were the true Earthlings and were overpopulated, so they planned to return to the surface and kill everyone in the process. These beasts killed 70% of people, and Saitama felt excited because they were strong, and he said he would defeat these mole-like men. Although the funny thing is that Saitama defeated their leader with a single punch. A wild battle began. The mole-like beings were coming out everywhere, giving him no rest. The mole creatures wondered who he was because he was too strong, and from the fire, Saitama appeared, stating he is a protector of the surface. In this way, the bald one fought and felt excitement after a long time. Saitama felt like it was his first real fight in a long time, and he regained his emotions. Then the king of the depths appeared to confront him, but it was all just a dream of Saitama's. The world was not at peace. The denizens of the depths had appeared, but they were not the powerful titans of his dream. They were disappointing. Saitama wanted to fight them, but they quickly escaped. After that, we switched to a boy who was observing many dead cows as he headed towards the city. While this happened, Saitama filled his watering can and listened to the news, where they talked about mosquitoes that had appeared in City Z. These mosquitoes had killed those cows and were an uncontrollable plague. Saitama watered his cactus when a mosquito appeared, which he couldn't catch despite being so strong. The city was being evacuated due to the threat of an ogre-level threat, which the boy we saw earlier was analyzing. A criminal took advantage of the isolated city to rob, but he regretted it as the mosquitoes devoured him seconds later. These mosquitoes fed a mosquito woman. The boy from earlier shot the mosquito woman because he noticed how she fed. The cyborg wanted to kill this kaijin to end the threat, but she challenged him after hearing his words. That's how an intense battle began, with the boy using fire to confront this threat. The beast ripped his arm off with a single attack, but she had lost her legs against the cyborg. The mosquito woman began to escape and used the mosquitoes from the forest to feed herself. This way, she became surrounded by mosquitoes, and the cyborg knew he had to do something quickly. While this was happening, Saitama arrived with insecticide, chasing a mosquito. The cyborg thought Saitama was an idiot and told him to escape. Saitama worried for a second and considered escaping, but the mosquitoes started attacking. Nevertheless, the boy defended himself by incinerating everything. However, he burned Saitama's clothes in the process, and he was still surprised why the hero didn't die. The Mosquito Queen was still alive and had become much stronger. Now, she could destroy the city and started toying with the cyborg until she split him in two parts and considered self-destructing. However, Saitama killed her with a single slap, and the boy asked for his name and wanted to be his disciple. Saitama absent-mindedly agreed without really understanding anything. Later, the boy, whose name is Genos, appeared at Saitama's apartment. Saitama asked him to stop calling him sensei or sir, and he was also surprised at how quickly they repaired him, finding it weird. Genos asked if Saitama was also a cyborg and thought his bald head was armor. When Saitama told him he was just bald, the boy thought he was too young for that and annoyed Saitama. Genos didn't understand much and started telling his story. He became a cyborg when he was 15. A cyborg attacked the place where Genos lived and destroyed everything. He wants revenge because he lost his family. Thanks to Dr. Stench, Genos became a cyborg because they both shared the goal of killing the cyborg who started it all. Genos promised to bring peace back to the world, but despite going to various cities and saving people, he hasn't found the cyborg yet. Saitama was getting impatient with Genos' non-stop talking, although the truth is that what he says is really interesting. Genos was grateful for how Saitama saved him from that mosquito and now was determined to become as strong as the bald hero. Though Saitama was going crazy from so much cliché talk, he asked him to sum it all up in 20 words or less. While this was happening, a scientist learned that his creation, the Mosquito Girl, was eliminated and wanted to make Saitama his next specimen. Thus, he summoned him to the House of Evolution. Genos summarized everything to Saitama and asked him to train him. He is sure that Genos will surpass him because he started training later than him. Saitama gave instructions, but something was lurking. A mantis-like guy entered Saitama's house but died instantly after irritating the bald hero. There were two more of his men outside, and Saitama quickly defeated them, although something left him embedded in the ground. A cyborg appeared and told Genos not to interfere. Meanwhile, a lion man and a mole man were fighting against Saitama. Genos began using fire against the cyborg, who was the armored gorilla from the House of Evolution. Saitama wanted to sleep while the lion man annoyed him. The machines got angry, but they didn't know that Saitama was more annoyed by the destruction of his house, and the lion man started attacking with his claws, even killing his comrades. But what he didn't know was that he wasn't on Saitama's level, who killed him with 4 punches. The mole man began to escape, but Saitama defeated him in seconds. Meanwhile, the gorilla was interrogated by Genos and believed that the lion man would win, but upon seeing that Saitama was the winner, he apologized and asked not to be killed, saying he would tell them anything. The scientists were surprised by what happened in the House of Evolution. The scientist was a genius who made many contributions to humanity, but he lost faith in them. His ideas never received support from other scientists. He wanted to evolve humanity, but everyone thought he was going crazy. In this way, he started researching alone until he was 70 years old and rejuvenated. Then he cloned himself and created the House of Evolution, experimenting with new species. That's what the gorilla told them. Saitama wanted him to explain everything in 20 words or less. The gorilla said he was looking for Saitama because of his superhuman strength. Genos said they should head there now to stop the scientist from chasing him. Saitama wanted to go there right away because there would be sales at the supermarket the next day. The gorilla was going to inform the doctor, but Genos interrogated him about the cyborg who destroyed his city, although that monkey knew nothing. The scientist still couldn't believe what was happening and asked to prepare Asura Kabuto for combat. All his clones thought he was crazy, but the original scientist knew it would be his end if they caught him. Saitama and Genos ran to the location and arrived quickly. The House of Evolution was a tower. However, Saitama destroyed it in seconds to be more efficient, and that's how they found a hatch leading to a basement. Meanwhile, one of the scientists was crushed by Asura Kabuto. Suddenly, the original scientist appeared, thinking it was a failure, but he knew that Kabuto was possibly the only one who could defeat Saitama. Sooner than later, Kabuto appeared and knocked out Genos with a single blow, then asked Saitama to follow him to an experimental combat room. They went there, and in this place, they would face each other, but Genos appeared, launching flames at the beast at very high speeds and also delivering blows. However, Genos was defeated, but he didn't want to give up and ended up with an afro. Saitama was excited to face Kabuto. The scientist, totally beaten by Kabuto, thought about how he despised humanity, considering them all idiots. He wanted to see how Kabuto would defeat Saitama. To everyone's surprise, when Asura was about to hit Saitama, he got scared, noticing something out of the ordinary. He knew that Saitama could kill him, but he decided to go against his instincts and ask Saitama how he became so strong. Saitama was going to reveal his legendary method, and the scientist revealed that his name is Genus. He also wanted to know. That's how Saitama began to tell how he did it. He said it had to be done every day. 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 sit-ups, and run 10 kilometers daily, no matter how difficult it was. Everyone was astonished. He also said not to use heating in winter or summer and eat 3 meals a day, no matter how tough it is. Saitama said he trained to the point of exhaustion, and after a year and a half, he became bald. His conclusion was that one had to train until becoming bald to become that strong. He said Genus's experiments were foolish. Everyone around him thought it was foolish, a very basic training. Surely there was more intense training. To everyone's disappointment, Saitama only did that. Asura lost control, and both Genos and Genus were scared of the beast. This creature had enough power to last in a week-long battle and sent Saitama flying. The bald hero seemed to be in trouble, and Saitama was worried about the endurance of this monster, but his concern was that the supermarket deals would end today. Saitama was sad and thought he wouldn't make it to the deals, although Genos said he still had time. That way, they left the place while the scientist realized that he had to change. Later, people analyzed the events because Genos had caused all the destruction in the place. A guy named Hammerhead is now causing trouble. He doesn't want to work and, along with his bald gang called Togen, wants to create a utopia for workers and slackers. No one paid attention to this madman, and they decided to head to a penthouse to cause chaos while a kid talked about them as if they were little puppies, calling them Baldies. The Baldies, wearing their armored suits, went to destroy that penthouse, but they destroyed the wrong building and easily went to the correct one. While the chaos of the Baldies was happening, we see a cyclist rescuing a cat, and he will become a hero. Saitama woke up not understanding anything, and later saw the news about the group of Baldies. Their leader, Hammerhead, was demanding free stuff. None of that mattered to Saitama until he heard that they were jobless and bald like him. This made him panic, and he thought they would make him look like a villain, so he wanted to stop them. The Baldies kept advancing, and the cyclist from earlier tried to save them. He was the unlicensed rider, a hero, but he was defeated in seconds. However, the man from the building had a bodyguard named Sonic and said he would take care of Hammerhead and his men. The Baldies were moving slowly towards the building when Sonic appeared, warning them that they would die if they fought him. He gave them 2 options: surrender or be finished. However, Hammerhead wanted to fight the bodyguard, although the Togen gang lasted only a few seconds against the agile ninja, who decapitated them one by one. Hammerhead was left alone against Sonic, and with the destruction he caused, he was destroying buildings in the city. Meanwhile, Saitama was approaching the combat zone, although people thought he was a criminal. Sonic was still amazed that Hammerhead wanted to fight him. The bald man thought of attacking in a straight line to prevent Sonic from getting close, but the ninja had already realized this and attacked him head-on. Hammerhead grabbed a tree to hit him and felt invincible, but Sonic stabbed him with a kunai from behind, and it was game over for the Baldi. Sonic said he couldn't control his boss, and Hammerhead escaped due to his thick skull and ran into Saitama. Meanwhile, Emos was talking to the doctor who turned him into a cyborg, thanking him for repairing him so many times after Saitama saved his life. The doctor noticed the cyborg's admiration for Saitama and believes that with future improvements, he can match Genos. Hammerhead stood in front of Saitama, and our hero said he would stop him because he gave him a bad reputation. He tried to hit Saitama, not knowing who he was clearly messing with. Saitama was disappointed in the strength of the suits they had in Hammerhead, and he got angry, using the absolute potential of the suit. However, he noticed that this guy fought like a child and stopped him right away. Saitama broke Hammerhead's suit with a single elbow and told him to do something with his life, so the Baldi finally escaped. Sonic appeared on the scene when Saitama thought everything was peaceful. He wondered where the leader of the Togen was and attacked Saitama, even though he provided the answer. Saitama stopped Sonic's attacks and told him he wasn't part of the gang of slackers, he is a hero. But since Sonic had never heard of him, he decided to attack, more as a way to stop his attacks. Sonic was someone who grew up in a ninja village, and to keep his pride high, he wanted to stop Saitama. The ninja attacked at Sonic's speed, but Saitama wanted to leave, so when Sonic exposed his defense, Saitama delivered a low blow. Sonic said he would quit his job because he wanted to maintain his pride after being defeated. He introduced himself as Sonic the Speed of Sound and wanted to know our hero's name. Saitama responded, and Sonic promised to get revenge. So Saitama told him to wait. Later, Saitama told Genos what happened. The cyborg said he would take care of Sonic if needed, but Saitama didn't want Genos at his house. Besides, Saitama was frustrated with what the Togen gang did, as they ruined his reputation. Genos asked him what happened, and it turned out that no one knew Saitama. 3 years have passed since Saitama became a hero, but he is unknown to everyone. All of Saitama's heroic acts were forgotten. As for the Togen gang, only the unlicensed cyclist was mentioned, not Sonic or Saitama. Genos gave him the idea of joining the Hero Association. He had to pass a test, and by being registered, Saitama could earn money since he wasn't making any money the way he was doing things. Saitama just learned about this, and Genos wasn't enlisted. Both decided to register, and thus, the cyborg would become Saitama's official disciple. It was a good idea, and Saitama accepted it. Later, Hammerhead was attacked by robots for stealing the suits, but he didn't die. Once again, his thick skull saved him, and now he was going to look for a job. In the morning, Saitama watched the news and thought that he wasn't much different from the Togen gang since he didn't have a job. He looked into nothingness and thought that he could have become someone like that if he hadn't become a hero. After a while, Saitama and Genos went to the hero test. At the Hero Association, they were saying that the unlicensed cyclist was one of the best in Class C, and everyone thought it was strange that he didn't want to be in Class B. They wondered how logical that was since he was just a guy with a bike. They also revealed that 11,000 people had registered for the hero exam, and they hoped Genos would be there. The funny thing is that Genos registered only to become Saitama's disciple. There were too many people registered for the hero exam, and they were everywhere. Everyone thought Saitama was a joke until they saw him in the tests, where he showed his incredible strength for each of them. Many people withdrew after seeing him. Now, Saitama was waiting for the results, together with Genos, and they were both confident. Genos got a score of 100 on the exam and became a Class S hero. But Saitama didn't know his results yet. Genos was immediately given a Class S rank due to what he did at the House of Evolution. However, Saitama was ranked Class C because he performed poorly in the theoretical part, unlike the physical test, which he aced. They were talking in secret within the organization, saying that Genos being Class S was an exception. A hero told our protagonists to be humble, and he began making ridiculous karate movements. Saitama didn't worry much about what was said and just wanted to know what he would have for dinner that day. On their way home, we learned that the Hero Association was founded after a millionaire was rescued by a passing hero. Both Saitama and Genos were happy that they would now be rewarded for their hard work. Now, Saitama had a disciple, but he didn't know how to train him. The hero who talked to them earlier said they wouldn't last long, but someone higher up disagreed. It was due to Genos' perfect test scores and Saitama breaking historical records. Snek, the hero who overheard this, was now ranked lower than Genos and was surprised by that. They also warned him that Saitama would catch up to him. Meanwhile, Saitama was thinking about the type of hero he wants to be. Moments later, Snek appeared before him, challenging him to a duel. However, Saitama defeated Snek in 1 second. A day later, Saitama and Genos found out that they were at the bottom of their respective ranks. They have their names, but they will earn a hero name as they rise in the rankings and people recognize them. Saitama didn't understand the hero name thing, and he thinks they might call him Baldy with a cape. Even so, Genos says they might give him another name. The topic shifts, and both of them start training, giving their best. Genos shows us his brutal and destructive potential and speed. However, Saitama remains undamaged, and Genos loses sight of him. When he finally locates him, Genos attacks with everything, once again asking Saitama to fight him until he's knocked out. Genos believes this will help him improve, and Saitama gets serious to stop his attack before hurting him. The cyborg is amazed and knows he'll never reach Saitama's potential, no matter how hard he tries. Afterward, they decide to go eat. At night, they have udon for dinner and compete to see who can eat the most. Genos wins, and at that moment, the best Class A hero, Amai Mask, appears. He wants to talk to Genos. Saitama warns Genos about the hazing, the same thing that happened with Snek earlier. They both go outside to talk while Saitama eats ice cream. A few seconds later, Genos comes back in, and it turns out he received a friendly welcome. Now, the girls are looking for Genos since he's acquainted with Amai Mask, and Saitama feels jealous. Nevertheless, he's happy that they are now considered professional heroes. Later, we see Genos talking to Amai Mask, and it wasn't as friendly as it seemed. Amai Mask tells Genos he'll forget about what happened there and that he spoke ill of the exams. 5 days have passed since they became heroes, but nothing has happened yet. Genos has great confidence in Saitama, but our protagonist doesn't know how to train the cyborg. But there's something more critical. Saitama will be expelled if he doesn't save anyone within a week. Class C heroes have to do it to survive, although it doesn't apply to Genos. So, Saitama decides he will go find villains and asks Genos not to come with him so that he doesn't get credit stolen and expelled. On the other hand, he tells Genos to aim for the top 10 heroes since, as a cyborg, physical training won't be useful. However, the truth is that Saitama is making something up because he can't teach anything to Genos and finds it funny that he believed him. During the day, Saitama looks for criminals but doesn't find anything unusual. He is about to head back home after a long day. The next day, Saitama is nervous that no one will show up when Sonic attacks him. However, Saitama doesn't pay him any attention and breaks the sword he had with his teeth. He tells Sonic that he's busy and will punch him if he keeps bothering him. A girl warns a hero that Saitama is bothering people. This hero is Tank Top Tiger. Saitama laughs at Sonic, but as he runs around, he scares people. Tank Top Tiger tells Saitama not to bother people, and he intends to fight him. but Sonic throws explosive shurikens to stop him from interfering. Sonic is now willing to cause chaos in the city just so Saitama is forced to fight him, as he knows he's a hero now. Sonic continues causing explosions everywhere and nearly kills people. However, Saitama still doesn't realize that the ninja is a villain. Saitama defeats him in 1 second and now thinks that will be enough to rank up. Furthermore, the Hero Association knew Sonic was a wanted assassin. In the association, they are investigating a ghost town, and a green-haired girl wants to be sent there. However, they don't believe it's something they need to assign a Class S hero for. They were going to investigate what was happening in the abandoned area, as they said there were too many kaijin in this city. The heroes were investigating because the number of kaijin was increasing, and they believed there might be a colony or something. Genos was on alert while these heroes investigated, and the heroes listened to the kaijin, but Genos ignored the beast. They used their abilities to fight. Golden Ball could shoot rockets with his slingshot, but that wasn't enough against that kaijin. Spring Mustache managed to endure much longer than his companion with his transforming rapier, but he was too slow for the kaijin, who used his tentacles. The hero realized he needed reinforcements and asked for information to know why the kaijin were there. It turned out they were drawn to the area by a rumor of kaijin gathering there. The information quickly reached the Hero Association, and many heroes went there as reinforcements. Spring Mustache fell in combat after a short time. Saitama was passing by and encountered the kaijin, defeating him and using his tentacles to make food. Genos told him that type of algae was good for his hair, which annoyed him. The Hero Association learned about the events, but they didn't know about the beast's defeat because Saitama didn't report it. They believed the kaijin were gathering there. The green-haired heroine from before said she wouldn't have had any problems defeating the kaijin that Saitama defeated. The support heroes thought there was a dangerous kaijin, but in reality, Saitama was the rumored threat. Later, we see Saitama rise in rank, and Genos became very popular, everything Saitama wanted. The Hero Association called many heroes, and Genos went to the place they were summoned. Upon arriving at the association building, Genos met Bang, also known as Silver Fang, the third-ranked Class S hero. The only heroes who arrived at the headquarters were the two of them. A meteorite was going to fall there, posing a dragon-level threat. The impact was scheduled in half an hour, and they had to evacuate. The city was in great chaos, and people knew they couldn't escape. Genos, to save everyone, tried out his new prototype arms. However, another hero named Bofoy, the rank 7 Class S hero, arrived. He only appeared to test new weapons with an empty armor and told them to call him Metal Knight. Metal Knight's missiles were delayed and did nothing to the meteorite. There was little time left until impact. Genos doubted they could destroy the meteor. Silver Fang arrived and told him to stay calm and step aside if he couldn't do anything. Genos thought he should give everything in his attack against the meteor. He used everything he had, but despite the incredible flash he created, it had no effect. Just in time, Saitama appeared and destroyed the asteroid by launching himself like a missile. He did it easily, but many fragments fell in the area, leaving pure destruction behind. 3 days later, Genos was outraged about what happened and that they didn't call Saitama. Additionally, he was bothered that people thought he was to blame for the destruction. Still, Saitama tried to cheer him up. Now, Saitama rose in rank from 340 to 5 in Class C, Genos to 16 in Class S, and Metal Knight to 6. However, Genos believed that if they hadn't been there, he would have risen to Class A at least. The danger levels were Tiger, Ogre, Dragon, and God levels. The meteorite was a dragon-level threat. Saitama said that he should help as it's nothing out of the ordinary. Genos took note of that, and Saitama went to continue saving people without Genos to rank up. As Saitama walked down the street, he saw the city's destruction, and Tank Top Tiger confronted him. Tank Top Black Hole, Tiger's brother, also appeared. The two of them accused Saitama of taking credit for what the Class S heroes did. They tried to make him infamous, blaming him for the city's destruction. The crowd gathered and continued to accuse him. People asked him to resign, and Saitama was speechless. Genos heard the rumors. More and more people gathered around those two brothers in the center of attention. Silver Fang was saddened by how ungrateful people could be. To make matters worse, Black Hole and Tiger claimed that Saitama wanted to fight them and caused chaos to show why they didn't rank up. Genos appeared in the area when Saitama stopped those two. Saitama said he destroyed the meteor and didn't seek anyone's approval. He called them all baldies, although he was the real bald one. When Genos arrived, he told them to leave the area, and later, he told his sensei that he admires him. A couple of days passed, and sea creatures appeared, wanting to dominate the surface. However, Saitama arrived and eliminated them with a single punch. The unlicensed cyclist arrived late and started investigating who could have saved the people. He was surprised not to know who the savior was, and there were rumors that it was Saitama. He didn't want to be left behind by him. The attacks from the sea creatures continued, and more heroes appeared. A Class A hero named Stinger came to rescue the people. Meanwhile, Genos was with Saitama, who was now ranked second in Class C. With only a little left to reach Class B, they were called to the City J, and the unlicensed cyclist went there as well since Stinger was in danger. The sea creatures were angry, and the unlicensed cyclist defeated the ones that were there easily, but a more formidable one appeared and defeated him with a single blow. Genos was on alert because there was no sign of the Kaijin, so he went ahead of Saitama. The threat was no longer considered tiger level after Stinger's defeat. Several Class C heroes were escaping, but the cyclist still went to the area. The Kaijin that emerged from the sea was being observed by a hero who had no chance against it. This hero was Lightning Max, but he was defeated in 2 blows despite trying to fight. Right at that moment, the hero everyone admired, the Class S prisoner Sleep Mask, appeared along with Sonic. The Sea King was now going to fight this hero, who became furious because his boyfriend's sweater was torn. However, the prisoner was tougher than the previous heroes, even though the Kaijin had the advantage. The prisoner turned into a nudist, and Sonic decided to disappear. It was precisely when he went into JoJo mode. Genos discovered the Kaijin due to the noise of their fight, and Sonic was paralyzed watching the battle, as the hero was defeated right in front of him. Sonic asked the Sea King to know who he was, and feeling insulted by the Kaijin, he decided to fight. The ninja dodged the Sea King's blows, but no matter how much he avoided them, the Kaijin became stronger as it started to rain. Meanwhile, Saitama briefly crossed paths with the cyclist. Imai Mask wasted time on television. Sonic wanted to escape and ended up without clothes, but he achieved his goal. Sonic saw Genos and said he didn't stand a chance against the Sea King. Now, the creature was looking for a dome where people were hiding, and it entered there. The Sea King wanted to kill everyone inside, and a hero tried to buy time, but several were there and supported him against the terrible beast. Meanwhile, the cyclist and Saitama searched for the beast in the area, but they separated when Saitama saw someone naked in the zone, which was Sonic. The heroes in the dome fought against the beast as best as they could, but they couldn't hold out for long. Saitama found the cyclist's phone and answered it instead. He learned about the great danger while Genos arrived at the scene. Genos launched a powerful attack against the Kaijin, and it seemed the battle was over, but the beast reappeared out of nowhere. The Hero Association knew that Saitama had the potential, so they allowed him to join the battle. At that moment, Genos asked people to evacuate the area. The beast wouldn't allow it, and they engaged in a fierce battle. Genos couldn't give the slip to the Kaijin so people could escape, and the Kaijin launched an acid that left Genos in pieces. The villain had recovered from the damage and sent the cyborg flying out of the dome. That should have been the end, but the unlicensed cyclist arrived just in time. Although he didn't stand a chance against the Sea King, people were aware of that too. The Kaijin treated him like trash, but he didn't give up, which angered the sea creature. The cyclist was sent flying again, admitting that he hadn't reached Class B because he couldn't compete against beasts like that. However, the cyclist continued to give it his all, and he moved and motivated the people, gaining their support. Everyone cheered for him, despite not being strong, and he felt truly motivated. Although he could only withstand one more blow, he gave Saitama enough time to make his appearance. The bald superhero arrived and truly respected the cyclist for the effort he made. Ignoring the Sea King, Saitama was surprised that his student was still alive and said he would take care of the Kaijin. That's when Saitama received a surprise attack, leaving people astonished and recognizing him as a new hero, but no one had faith in him. The Kaijin claimed to be the greatest life form in the sea, but Saitama wanted to finish him quickly, and that's how he eliminated him with a single blow. People were happy about Saitama's victory, although he felt disappointed by the Kaijin. Sonic had returned to the place he escaped from, but to his surprise, he found out that the Kaijin was no longer there. A few days later, Saitama received a package from the Hero Association's drone. Along with Genos, he opened the package, which contained letters from fans for both of them, although the bald hero still received hatred from people. After that, we return to the scene of the battle, where a guy tried to demean the heroes, saying that heroes must be pathetic and that their ranks are a farce. He also claimed that several heroes died in vain. Another guy asked him to shut up. Due to this, Saitama started laughing and said that it was easy because of everyone else's efforts, and he was just lucky. Furthermore, due to his bad reputation as a fraud, people fell for Saitama's lie to protect the heroes. This changed others' opinions, but it left him with a bad image. Back to the present, we see someone grateful to Saitama, and a letter arrives stating that he is ranked number 1 in Class C. As a result, he was summoned by the Hero Association, and they asked if he had read the rulebook, but he ignored it. They interviewed Saitama so he could move up to Class B. Additionally, Saitama wants to reach Class S. Saitama had to undergo a psychological examination and was observed by several people, although they knew he was not a fraud. They said that in case he was a fraud, Saitama would be expelled on his own. Imai Mask received the news from someone in the Hero Association, but he isn't interested in anyone below his rank. Upon seeing evidence of how Saitama defeated the Sea King, he becomes intrigued. Then, we see the heroes who are hospitalized, and the Class S prisoner, Sweet Mask, was going to treat them. However, He saw a newspaper article calling him a failure, and he felt awful. At night, Saitama returned home and went to eat at a place that seemed to have good food. There, he met the cyclist who was grateful to him and wanted to celebrate Saitama's promotion. They then remembered their conversation from a few days earlier while searching for the kaijin. Saitama remembered the cyclist. The letter of gratitude was from the cyclist to Saitama, and they had dinner together. In another place, at a dojo, there was a fortune teller who claimed that the end was near. In another location, a society of dinosaurs emerged from the ice. They had been frozen but sent the green-haired girl from before to face this beast. The kaijin was the ancient king, but just when the girl was about to face him, she was asked to come back, and the giant lizard fell. She put the phone away, upsetting the ancient king, and they began fighting with mutual insults. The girl had enough potential to face the dinosaur, who needed a meteor to be defeated. So, she said she would get one, and without giving him any time, she got rid of him. Later, we see Silver Fang training Saitama and Genos, but they were not interested in his defensive style. Silver Fang's most prominent disciple, Charonko, was very weak, and he used to have more students. However, they all left the dojo because a student went mad and left many in bad condition, causing others to quit afterward. That student's name was Garo, but he was expelled and beaten by the hero due to his actions. Shortly after hearing this, someone from the Hero Association arrived. There was a dragon-level threat. Saitama went along with Genos and Bang. There, they met a hero called Atomic Samurai, whom Saitama and Genos did not know. The samurai said he would recognize him if he were Class S. The girl with green hair was annoyed that Saitama, a Class B hero, was with Class S heroes. However, Saitama and Genos treated her like a child. Her name is Tatsumaki Tornado, or Tornado of Terror. She uses telekinesis. Then we move to see the meeting with the 17 Class S heroes, or well, most of them. Let's introduce the new ones we haven't seen. Among those we haven't seen are Metal Bat, Tank Top Master, Flash, Darkshine, Hogback, Drive Knight, Zombie Man, King, and Emperor Kid. By the way, the number 1 hero is absent, and all we know is that his name is Blast. The leader of the Hero Association arrived and asked the heroes to save the Earth. They were allowed to leave now, but if they wanted to leave later, it would be too late. Before they begin, we see that nobody gets along with Tornado. However, Flash asked them to continue the conversation. The fortune teller we saw earlier had died, and it turns out she could see her own death. She couldn't always see everything, but many times, she managed to see the future. Saitama didn't know about her until the Sweet Mask explained that she had seen many kaijin attacks. The fortune teller's last prophecy was that the Earth was in danger from something very big. She had never seen anything so serious, so they knew it was a grave threat within the next 6 months. They didn't know when it would happen within that time frame. At that moment, the Hero Association's building was attacked by some kaijin, but they were defeated in a matter of seconds by an even more terrible kaijin. A colossal ship appeared in the city, signifying a great danger. The kaijin from before attacked the people, who were protected by one of Atomic Samurai's disciples. Class S heroes went to combat the threat, but Saitama went out first and found himself surrounded by cannonballs. The disciple of Atomic was being overpowered until his master arrived to rescue him. These kaijin were extraterrestrials and received support from other heroes. The prisoner had learned that he had to go with the intent to kill his opponents. The Hero Association was preparing a defense protocol against this dragon or god-level threat. The highly respected king stated that he couldn't do anything due to the height of the ship. Tornado went on her own, and Genos was going to do the same. Saitama was inside the ship and defeated several enemies without any problem, slowly destroying the ship. The extraterrestrials were surprised by Saitama's power. Boros, the leader of the invaders, was calm despite Saitama's immense power. Boros was interested in Saitama. News of the attack was being broadcasted, and the villains that Saitama had defeated before were watching in astonishment. Then we see that the prisoner had torn apart the beast that attacked, but it regenerated very quickly. Even though several heroes attacked the alien, it resisted. Metal Bat prevented them from contacting the ship for a bombardment. The problem was that all the heroes used physical attacks, and they couldn't eliminate him definitively. Finally, they managed to signal for a bombardment, but not in time to save themselves, as Metal Bat discovered a marble that helped regenerate its heads. The kaijin had no way to escape. Saitama was lost in the ship and managed to guide himself thanks to the ship's leader. This led him to the control room, where that leader began attacking him relentlessly, but without success. Saitama killed him with a rock. That's when Saitama went after the boss of these aliens. The heroes were about to be bombarded, and they gave the order to take cover from the approaching attack. They were almost bombarded, but Tatsumaki arrived in the area and deflected the attack back at the ship. The cyclist was rescuing people in the area, just like Stinger and Lightning Max. The alien fighting the heroes had one head left, but it brutally attacked Silver Fang and realized he could defeat them one by one. Meanwhile, Saitama finally encountered Boros, and they introduced themselves to each other. Boros came to Earth based on a prophecy to find the strongest, which was said to be Saitama. Alongside Saitama, Boros would have the ultimate battle. Saitama was upset because Boros attacked the Earth just for a fight for his entertainment, but Saitama broke the armor that contained Boros's power. Saitama thought he had messed up. After that, Boros showed his true form and made Saitama more serious than ever before. He knew his opponent was strong because he took more than one punch. Tornado took advantage of the debris to bring down the ship. She could handle it alone. Engine Knight was going to leave the area because the battle was secured. He wanted to tell Genos that Metal Knight was an enemy to him, so he asked him to be careful. Some heroes were still fighting against the Kaijin, who had only one head left, and it seemed that Silver Fang didn't fall from one hit and destroyed the last marble. The heroes were victorious, but the ship was still there. Inside that colossal ship, nobody knew, but the final battle had begun. Saitama engaged in an intense fight with Boros, and for the first time, someone seemed capable of facing him. The battle was so intense that they ended up on the surface of the ship. Boros was thrilled to find such a powerful rival and used his strongest attack, which only managed to push Saitama. Boros could regenerate quickly, and Saitama asked him to get to the point quickly. He wanted to keep fighting. The Kaijin gave everything against Saitama and used his meteor attack, a barrage of impressive attacks. Saitama was sent flying to the moon, and for the first time, he almost died due to the lack of oxygen. He could withstand the pressure of space. Saitama returned to Earth like an unstoppable asteroid, and Boros was surprised by the hero's resilience. Saitama finally attacked Boros, destroying him with multiple punches. The beast quickly recovered due to excitement. Boros was determined to defeat Saitama and destroy the world with his star cannon, but Saitama also used his serious punch, which killed Boros in one blow. In his agony, Boros was congratulated by Saitama for his power, although he noticed that the hero had held back and was stronger than that. Boros died this way. The ship started to fall, and everyone had to leave. Imai Mask appeared, asking how everything happened, and the heroes looked at him annoyed. Imai Mask called them all incompetent and said that the way they saved the city was a disaster. This annoyed everyone, and Imai Mask revealed that he remains in Class A to prevent others from advancing in rank, basically holding them back. Metal Knight appeared with a drone, and Genos analyzed Engine Knight's words, as Metal Knight wanted to use everything for new weapons. One of the heroes found aliens who no longer wanted to fight, but Imai Mask killed them, disappointed in Genos. However, the cyborg realized that he must have gone through something terrible in the past. While all of this was happening, Saitama left the ship and crossed paths with Tornado, whom he ignored. Tornado still couldn't understand how he became a Class B hero and started insulting him about being bald. Genos got upset, but he was defeated in a second by the girl. Moments later, Fang arrived to stop the conflict caused by Tornado. City A was erased from the map after the events, and nobody talked about the place again. Metal Knight used the ship's parts, and the association now had an indestructible base that connected to all cities. Class A heroes or better were given the option to live in that headquarters if they wanted. And to conclude this great series, we see Saitama effortlessly stopping new threats, while Genos accompanies him. Saitama becomes frustrated again for defeating enemies with a single punch. And that's how the first season of this anime ends. If you've reached this part of the video, let me tell you that you've been one of the few people to make it this far. So comment the word punch in the comments. Remember to subscribe to not miss any videos. With that said, see you in the next video.